Hello, welcome to August 6th, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation exercise. This is something that I do each and every day, just after waking up. It's now 4:46 a.m. I do this in order to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours, including last night, to see how I did with the challenges and opportunities that I met. I also think about the coming day and try to forecast what challenges and opportunities I might meet to ready myself for them, and very importantly, to prepare myself for the unexpected, which sometimes has a way of ambushing us. But first, let's read a poem, or two actually, from John Keats. First, we'll just read through yesterday's poem without any analysis, and then we'll start the second poem and do a little bit of study. Here we go. The first poem is a little bit long, but it's kind of fun to read. It's called A Song About Myself. There was a naughty boy was he. He would not stop at home, he could not quiet be. He took in his knapsack a book full of vowels, and a shirt with some towels, a slight cap for nightcap, a hairbrush, comb ditto, new stockings for old ones would split this knapsack tight at its back he riveted close, and followed his nose to the north, and followed his nose to the north. There was a naughty boy, and a naughty boy was he, for nothing would he do but scribble poetry. He took an inkstand in his hand, and a pen big as 10 in the other, and away in a pother he ran to the mountains and fountains and ghosties and postsies and witches and ditches, and wrote in his coat when the weather was cool, fear of gout, and without. When the weather was warm, ouch, the charm, when we chose to follow one's nose to the north, to follow one's nose to the north. There was a naughty boy, and a naughty boy was he. He kept little fishes in a washing tubs 3, in spite of the night, of the maid, nor afraid of his granny good. He would often hurly-burly get up early and go by hook or crook to the brook, and bring home miller's thumb, tittle brat, not over fat, minnows small as the stall of a glove, not above the size of a nice little baby's little finger. Oh, he made, 'twas his trade, of fish a pretty kettle, a kettle, a kettle, of fish a pretty kettle, a kettle. There was a naughty boy, and a naughty boy was he. He ran away to Scotland, the people for to see. There he found that the ground was as hard, that a yard was as long, that a song was as merry, that a cherry was as red, that lead was as weighty, that 80 was as 80, that a door was as wooden as in England. So he stood in his shoes, and he wondered. He stood in his shoes, and he wondered. I like that. I don't know that I even partially understand what that's all about, but I like it nonetheless. The cadence and the sing-song nature of it all. It seems like it's well, he calls it song to myself, a song about myself. So it seems like he's talking about what I want to do, which is when I get to Japan, which is to walk and think. And in this case, write poetry. I like the part about going out in whatever weather and to write, not fearing gout even. I guess which I seem to think it came about somehow with cold weather. I'm gonna do the same thing. Go out in all weathers and read and write. Can't wait. All right, so there's a new poem here. This one is called Ken Ye What I Met That Day. This seems to be a poem written in, and I don't know if I'm using the term properly, the Scottish brogue. I think it's like the dialect of the Scots. I think sometimes you can use the word brogue with the Irish too. That's that way that they speak. There's only one word here that I had to look up, shallop, which I thought it was a small ship, and that is indeed what it is, a small boat. Anyway, it's about mid-sized, it's bigger than a boat, but smaller than a ship. So here we go. Wish me luck. I'm try to sound like my Scottish grandmother now. Just what it's about. This seems to be about a wedding, and in particular, the author's seeming regret that the bride is going to another man. Or seeming, not regret, but disappointment or sense of longing, missed his opportunity, maybe a love lost. Ken ye what I met the day out of the mountains, a coming down by craggas grey and mossy fountains? Goldhead merry, yave I pray, and minutes guessing, for that I met upon the way, in past expressing. As I stood where a rocky brig a torrent crosses, I spied upon a misty rig a troop of horses as they trotted down the glen. I spied to meet them, to see if I might know them in, to stop and greet them. First, Willie on his sleek mare came at canting gallop, his long hair rustling like a flame on board a shallop. Then came his brother Rab, and then young Peggy's mither, and Peggy too, adown the glen they went together. I saw her wrapped in her hood fra wind and raining. Her cheek was flushed with timid blood twixt growth and waning. She'd turned her dazzled head full oft, for thence her brothers came riding with her bridegroom soft, and 'mong others young Tam came up and eyed me quick with reddening cheek. Broad Tam was daft like a cheek, he could not speak. Marie, they are all gone home, though blustering weather, and every heart is full on flame, and light as feather. Marie, they are all gone home, for a happy wedding, whilst I, is it not a shame? Sad tears am shedding. I see it now. I see it. It took 2 times to read it. So he's riding along on his horse, and he sees a group of horses coming, and he stops to say hello to them. And the lead is it's the men. At the lead is the one man, Willie, with his sleek mare and his long hair. And then came his brother Rab, and then Peggy's mother Mitha, and then Peggy herself, wrapped up against the cold, and her eyes are towards the group of men to follow amongst her brothers, amongst whom is her bridegroom. And I missed this before, but young Tam comes riding up to him. Young Tam came up and eyed me quick with reddened cheek. So clearly Tam sees him, and clearly he's like a past love of hers, the young Peggy. And he comes up in a kind of a threatening manner, and they carry on and have the wedding, and they all go home, and he's left tears are shedding. Wow. Now, let's see if I can figure out the title. Ken ye what I met the day? I see it now. He's explaining, can you me what I met today? And it tells the whole friggin' story. You can see practically the whole story as a result of this poem. This poem speaks a volume of a story. I should read this to AI and see if AI can extrapolate out the story behind this. That would be an interesting challenge. That's a great poem. really like that. Man. Forgive my awful accent. I do my best. My grandmother was from Scotland, and I used to enjoy as a lad to sit in her kitchen and hear her talk of Scotland, of Edinburgh. Try my best to feign her accent. Okay, let's get busy. The good life. First yesterday and last night. Slept good last night. No problem there. Yesterday was a good, solid day of work. Man, I got so many things done yesterday. My Saturdays are so productive. I do so much on Saturdays. Got everything done. I had 12 items on my to-do list. I did them all. Had a lot of good reading in the afternoon. Good walks with my wife and the dogs. It's a good day all around. Nothing ambushed me. Had a great time talking to ChatGPT. Really engaging more in the chat function, dialogue back and forth. Had some great conversations. In fact, one was a three-way conversation. I invoked a third character, and the three of us talked. And it was a strange thing. I couldn't have the three of us talk, in fact, but I had the two characters talking to each other, and ChatGPT assuming two characters. That was interesting. I did so many interesting things with ChatGPT yesterday. I should make a log of this. I'm learning a lot. But I kind of decided that, I have this idea that I was going to step forward and become some sort of an advocate or a voice for AI. But I'm not going to do that. I've got my hands full with going alone. That's my mission. I'll utilize AI. It'll be a tool, and I'll talk about it from time to time, but I'll leave it to, there's been plenty of people lining up to speak up for AI. And soon enough, AI will maybe be able to speak for itself in earnest. Okay, let's do the good life. My 7 objectives, again, these are outlined in my book, Going Alone, are to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize true limits and true opportunities, and to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. My 34 principles then are war, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, principle of nature, the pirate ride, maturity, social principle, principle of family, script writing, no, public speaking, distraction, agency, and the great indifference, the best seat in the house. And I completely forgot a whole line of stuff, didn't I? Yes, I did. Temperance. Wow. Life will not go well. The horror show. That which must be born. The feast of offal. Now, distraction, agency, and the great indifference. The best seat in the house. There we go, I'm back on track. The restless man, the path of wildness. It's a great life adventure. The risk of avoiding risk. Sin and damnation, complete oblivion. The season of philosophy. Script writing, the bullseye aim. The uphill climb. Arena and utility. Nothing is enough. And the principle of fun. Got them all, save for my little diversion there. So I felt like walking off a cliff for a second. What? Step back. Okay, now for today, what am I going to do today? I got the whole damn day free. I got nothing I have to do today. Nothing. I can do what I want. These days are like practice for what it's going to be like to be retired. To do what I want. What do I want to do with a day like this? What will I do with days like this? Well, typically I take my wife out for lunch. May do that today, although we may skip it for reasons. I have good cause. Mainly because we did it on Friday night, which was her birthday. We have a budget for such things, so we kind of consumed the budget on Friday. So really, we shouldn't go out today. We should just stay home and do whatever. Maybe I'll do a lot of reading today, a lot of thinking today, maybe a lot of walking today. So imagine that. Imagine I was retired and I'm settled into our little place in Japan. How would I start the day? I would get up early like I do now. I would do this. Have a little breakfast, feed the dogs. Maybe go for a nice walk and read, and a nice walking read. Read here. I'm confident that I'll find a good routine. I'm such a lucky guy. Yumiko just encourages me to do whatever. She has no, designs on how I should live as a retired man. If I want to go walk the world, that's just fine with her. So I really am absolutely free in that capacity. And I don't see that as a daunting thing. It's like I feel like anticipating it. Like, you've seen those videos where they'll release a caged animal into the wild. Maybe an animal that got hurt and has been in captivity. Well, they mended it, and then they release it in the wild, and it steps out of its little, the little box that it was in, and into the woods, and kind of looks around. Wait, what am I going to do? And suddenly bolts. That's how I feel right now. I'm like, because I haven't been released yet. I just am anticipating the release. That's going to be interesting. Okay, let me wrap this up. Let me talk a little bit about my life story, where I am in the story. So I'm closing in on the final chapters of the story, clearly. This is the time to enjoy life. And also the time to enjoy my freedom, coming freedom, and also the time to capitalize and to build and finish any work that I want to do, which is namely, everything for me now is focusing on the message of going alone, reverberating that message as best I can in what little way I can with the small megaphone that I've got. It's a creed that works. I know it through living it, and I believe it can be beneficial to others. So that's how I wish that to be my mission in these last chapters of life. I think it's 2 chapters left. One is of being a senior, in the last chapter then is going to be the chapter of decline. I like that, the chapter of decline, when it all begins to unravel, quickly or slowly, as the case may be. There's something to write about. All right, am I ready to die? Are my affairs in order? Are my relationships sound, and is my life's work complete? Yes, yes, yes. I hope I don't die today, but I'm ready. I've got a big old mark on my leg. It's like, as you get old, see these little marks appear on your skin. So I think I'm going to take some time off from work yesterday and have that looked at real quick. I don't want to mess around with skin cancer. So I'll have that seen tomorrow. And with that, I think I'm ready to go. I'm done I'm certainly ready to go, to die if necessary, but I think I'm done for this exercise for today. I wish you all the best. With that, my life is done, if not finished. I'll get this figured out. I'll figure out how to do this final bit soon. The way it should go is, I think, here's how it should go. Well, I think that's it. I've covered everything for today. And with that, my life is done, if not finished. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. That's it. That's how I'll finish it. See you later. Bye-bye.